Disenchantment has always been a very difficult show for me to recommend because there are things I love about it. I love the characters, I love the voice acting, I love the music, and I love the world that they've created. There are so many fun stories that can come out of this world, and we've seen some of them in Disenchantment. However, the biggest problem with this show, especially in the last season, season 3, is it feels like they could never pick a path on where they wanted this show to go. They didn't know if they wanted to have an overarching story, if they wanted it to be episodic, so they decided to do both. And the pacing in season 3, the humor in season 3, and the overall storytelling suffered severely. All the positives are still the same in season 4, however, the storytelling has improved greatly, and I'm happy to say Disenchantment after season 4 is way easier to recommend than it was after season 3. Season 3 really felt like a misstep in terms of storytelling, forgetting about these plot points where Bean's like shooting lightning bolts out of her hand, but in season 4 it seems like they noticed they were leaving some stuff on the cutting room floor that probably needed to be within that season, and they're starting to do repairs, it feels like, to the story, and now it's starting to play a whole lot better. And I'm honestly excited to see where this show goes from here. After season 3, I wasn't super excited. I was expecting it to be terrible, but now they're starting to build these interesting conflicts, character relationships. It's just fantastic to see. Now, like I said, the positives for Disenchantment will most likely always be the same. The highest stuff, the stuff I love the most, is always going to be the animation, the voice acting, and the world that they've set up. However, the storytelling this new season, very, very good. The sense of humor, however, the comedy, didn't really work for me as well as it did in maybe the first 2 seasons. Season 3 across the board wasn't very good. The first 2 seasons were pretty funny. This 4th season, the comedy takes a backseat to the story they're trying to tell. And I absolutely see why they're doing that, because they need to get this story back on track. So I'm not upset at the shift that they did, but it feels like they maybe got some producer notes along the way, because you'll notice when you're watching it, there are instances where a character just spouts out a joke while a conversation is happening, and it just brings that conversation and the story to a halt, and then they just carry on from it. No one acknowledges the joke, no one laughs, they don't even cut to the character when they make the joke. It feels like they dubbed in a joke because a producer saw the episode and said, we need a joke here in this conversation. It's too serious, put a joke in there. And while the shoehorned in jokes are a problem, the overall sense of humor just kind of fell flat. There were a lot of cliches, a lot of slapstick, a lot of characters with funny voices being the joke. Isn't it funny that this character is talking funny, but he's not actually doing or saying anything funny? It's Adam Sandler humor, and if people can get behind that, that's a-okay. It just didn't quite work for me. Of course, there were jokes in this season I laughed at. It wasn't miserable, but I felt like they could have been a little bit more creative with it. I swear there were jokes in the first 3 episodes of this season that are so played out, it blew my mind that they even made it into the show. So the sense of humor definitely suffers in Disenchantment Season 4, but it's for the reason of getting this story back on track, like I said, and it feels like they've done that. It feels like this story is moving in a good direction. I'm going to stay far away from spoilers, but it is a lot more consistent, there's a lot more conflicts, there's a lot more interesting moments. I'm really excited to see where this goes. And that's about all I have to say about this season of Disenchantment. Now, the storytelling's not perfect, I should say, I guess, lastly. It does still have issues where they forget about plot points, where they wait too long to resolve something, and character arcs really aren't happening all too often, and there's a lot of inconsistencies, but they're moving in the right direction. I feel like I just undid all the praise I gave this show, because there are some people that like to think Disenchantment can do no wrong in some areas, but it definitely can. But it's good to acknowledge when it's moving in the right direction, and that's what this show is doing. So the question is, do I recommend Disenchantment Season 4, and do I recommend Disenchantment as a whole? After this season, absolutely. It is way easier to recommend this show now because they are starting to correct their issues. And while it's not perfect, while it's no 10 out of 10, it's moving towards a direction that I feel like one day could easily be a 10 out of 10 adult animated show. It's fantastic to see. As for this season, the storytelling suffered in some areas, but it was for the sake of repairs, and the sense of humor wasn't great. And with those shoehorned in jokes, I'm comfortable with giving this show a high 7 out of 10, 7.5, close to 8, we'll stick with 7.5 out of 10 for right now. What you do need to know, the number doesn't matter too much. What you should know is that I do recommend this show. I think people should check it out, and I do think it is worth watching as it stands right now. I'm really excited for season 5. So thank you all very much for watching this quick review. Let me know what you guys thought of the show down in the comment section below. I read every comment on this channel, so don't be shy, yours won't be overlooked. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.